He is an actor. He's been in movies. He's been in TV shows. He's been in commercials. Most recently, he has been in the South Carolina lottery commercial. Great stuff, man. And most notably, though, he likes to sing in his car. Can't hurry, love. Here he is, Matthew Burke Brown.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Do you speak Spanish, by the way? I didn't know that you spoke Spanish.
You didn't know that? Why, you speak Spanish?
No, I don't. You were just speaking Spanish. I was like, oh wow, that's impressive. I wish I could speak Spanish. I wish I could. That's one of the things that I tried. I remember a couple of years ago, I was flying a lot, and I got one of those teach yourself another language apps, and I tried using the app for a while to teach myself Spanish, but it didn't go so well. So
yeah. Well, it's better when you have somebody in person that you could talk to.
Yeah, I think they're probably great to use, and the convenience of them is fantastic. I just it didn't work as well for me, but I think maybe in the future that'd be something to look into.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean languages, because the more languages you know, the more roles you can play, and the more people that you can help.
Yeah, I think just to me, being able to communicate with other people, that maybe otherwise I wouldn't be able to connect with.
Exactly. So, hit it. You got to hit it. Virtual pound.
Boom. Because I don't think people look at me and be like, oh, we want to see him speak Spanish in a movie or something.
Right.
I don't think that's definitely not going to be probably my wheelhouse. But being able to connect with people that otherwise I wouldn't, I think is a pretty cool.
Right. So, yeah, exactly. That is why I love you, and I want to celebrate you right now, Burke, because I love that. Like, that's where I'm at right now. You and I, that's why we're here right now, because we're both in that same space, in that mindset where it's like, I don't care, man. Like, as long as I'm able to communicate with people and we can have that, that nice energy exchange, that's all that matters. Like, that's all that matters in life, and everything's going to be perfect as long as we can do that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other people
I don't know about perfect, but I mean, I think it could be better, Well,
yeah, it's a lot better. You know what I mean? It's a lot better. Like, whenever I am low on cash and I need something, I don't even have to ask. But either way, whether I ask or don't, I always get what I need because I'm constantly giving,
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I get, and it's not always, like I said, right now I don't eat as much food as I used to because I'm happier, because I'm doing what I love. I'm here with my friends, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's
definitely.
It's a great time, great things. Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Good to be, we haven't other than like a message or a Snapchat every now and again, to actually have a video, to see your face and talk. It's been a few years since I last saw you.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah, man, I've been through a lot. Like I said, I don't have no regrets. I don't want no sympathy. I'm not a victim. That's why I'm winning, because I know whenever I can do anything I want to do, and because I know the secret to life, it's communication. People call it networking, but that doesn't sound right. It's just connecting.
It's kind of got like a sticky, necky. I always feel like the word networking has like a very sticky quality to it, or it's like
like it's evil or something. Like
yeah. And people always talk about how I was so good at that, and I was like, well, I guess, and I think that there's, in some ways, like I think it's good to be able to promote yourself and to be proud of your work and the things that you do, but to do it with like some sort of like manipulation involved, or some sort of ulterior motive, is definitely like where it can get just kind of like unattractive,
right?
Because I think there's definitely something to be said about being outgoing and like and being able to and knowing a lot of people in the way that like one of the things when I was living in LA, like, and they say this and it's so true, it's like it's who you know, but it's not like just being offered jobs. It's like people liking someone, wanting to work with them, or having worked with them before and want to work with them again, like all those things. And the more people that you have worked with, like the more opportunity that you're creating for yourself.
Right.
Too.
Right. And it just makes life easier, It just makes life so much easier.
Yeah. And it depends on who you are, because some people just don't get energized from, other social interactions. Whereas, I really enjoy that. it energizes me, it empowers me, and it's something that I crave. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't crave my solitude as well. You know, I think that's like a common misconception of like extroverts, is that like it's just always needing to be in public or always needing to be the center of attention, to have a conversation, and it's not the case, because you know, I definitely have to restore myself, to be able to do those things,
Exactly. Yeah. It's that. And then, because there's like always a stigma too. Like me, when I was a kid, I was one of the shyest kids. And I feel like that today. Like it's a good place to be where, okay, there was a point where, I loved myself when I was a kid. I loved myself. I did my thing. I don't care what anybody else says. If I'm enjoying myself, that's all that matters, I'm going to play with my Barbie dolls. My Barbie doll isn't wearing those with her boobs hanging out. My Barbie doll was wearing these, like, you know what I'm saying? Like these nice suits. Like she's wearing these suits and she's in her Corvette. And she's like, okay, my hair looks great. All right, I'm going. Like, I'm not putting all this makeup on, but I look damn good. You know what I mean? And I'm in my Corvette and I'm with my top down. Not like I got a bunch of dudes in my car, but usually it's just me. But when I am with guys, it's like a bunch of guys,
When I was a kid, I had Barbies too. My mom was she was very good about like letting me do it. Like we had tea parties, and I was an only child till I was 12, so it was me and and my mom and dad for a while. And my mom and I played Barbies and had tea parties. But I was so extroverted that like my parents, when I was younger, were concerned that literally concerned that I was going to get kidnapped, because I would just talk to anybody, and you didn't even have to offer me candy. It would just be like, I'm like, hey, what's going on with you? Or I could talk to people, in line at the grocery store and just ask them how the day was or something, and they would have to like constantly kind of like wrangle me in and be like, just you don't have to go talk to them. But to me, it's kind of become like in a certain ways like a superpower to me, because I've been able to meet so many people and hear other people's stories and do my best to see the humanity in them, and in turn, when I'm working on something, creatively, having had so many experiences and such a rich life to have been able to pull from, it's a big benefit for sure.
Yeah, that's funny that you said that, superpower, because I had a chance that I was looking at this guy. He connected with me on, and I haven't heard from him. It's weird. But anyway, I went to his website. I said, oh, cool. You have a chance to be on this podcast. So I put in my information. One of the questions was, like, what's your superpower? And I said, my superpower is connecting with other people, basically, And I was just thinking, like what you were saying about the thing about being kidnapped. I actually was kidnapped one time.
Oh God. Okay.
It's a really funny story. So like I love candy to this day. I don't eat it though. That's why, because I love it so much. If somebody came over here, like not now because I've been off sugar for a while, but if somebody came over here and said, "Hey, you want some Reese's Cups?" Dude, I'm going with the person who's giving me Reese's Cups. Okay, that's simple. All right, you want to give me? That's a friend, So, but seriously, so my mom, one day I was like, I think I was only a year old or a year and a half. I just started walking, and so we were living on. You wouldn't know the area anyway, but so I was living in Pennsylvania, and this guy came over, and he was dressed as Abraham Lincoln, right? And I guess it gave me candy.
Real? This is. Yeah,
I swear to God, no, this really happened. So this guy came over, and this was so funny because he had like a top hat on and like a suit. He was dressed as Abraham Lincoln, basically. The guy must have been sick, but he asked me if I wanted some candy.
Time traveling, and he came to the future to kidnap you, apparently.
Yeah, and then my mom screwed me by coming to get me and beating the hell out of me. He took me to the park. We were at the park. We were about to go swimming in this pool, and this pool it was made of cement, but it's really small, But I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. Eating candy, swimming with Abraham Lincoln.
Well,
I don't know.
You were a child. I mean, like an infant, basically. So I mean, I think you probably cut yourself slack.
Yeah, just believing what everybody says. But no, I you know what? On the thing is, on one of my other interviews, somebody brought that up, and that's kind of. When I had cancer, right, I was sick, and that's when I learned about self-care. Like, nobody taught me anything. I didn't read articles on it, but I just thought to myself, one, I thought, what was I like when I was at my happiest, right? And when I was a kid at a certain age, before I got raped and before all that, I was being molested from
Trauma,
a
yeah.
very, huh?
Just before all
What?
that trauma, yeah. Before the
Yeah,
trauma,
yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, I was molested from a very, very young age, very young. But it didn't really start catching up with me until I was like maybe 10, maybe 11, 12. But before that, I was happy. Like I said, I did what I wanted to do. Nobody told me I would. My mom literally had to pay me, give me money to make me leave the house. And she's like, go out, like, find some friends. I'm like, nah, I don't, I'm fine. I want to be here. Like, listen to my music, sing and dance. We had a chest full of clothes. Like, I dress up like I was Dolly Parton and stuff. And just, I had fun. I was reading, all the things that I love to do. So when they told me I was going to die, I thought, well, if I'm going to die, why would I want to spend calling and texting people on the phone and going on Facebook and stuff? Plus, I said, I got to live because I got to get my master's degree. And I did, but then right after that, I became homeless, which was, like I said, the greatest blessing of my life. Because again, every time I had all these insecurities and I felt kind of not worthless, but less worthy, Like when I went to Colombia, I never been homeless before. Slept outside, people picking on me and everything. And of course, only the people that knew. Most people didn't. They still don't know to this day. But I still keep those connections too. A lot of those. And then when I come here, it's different. And I just thought of this today. I'm an immigrant because when I come to LA, I just Googled because I'm writing a song about it, about LA, and I was like, there's 70% Latino here, and guess what? A lot of people don't speak English here. So me coming here and hi, how you doing? And they just walk by and they pretend like they don't see me, and it made me feel bad because I thought it was about me, like an idiot. I forgot what I had just been through, and it's because they don't speak English. I need to learn Spanish because I need to be good at it. Because even if the person speaks English, it doesn't matter. You have to love people where they're at, and in order to love people, you have to speak their language, literally, and like metaphor, their heart language. And it's hard to speak somebody's heart language when you can't speak their, you know what I mean, their language.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just remember, it's always about them.
Yeah, well, in a lot of ways, I think it is, and I think we can get so wrapped up in, like our own experiences that we forget that there are other people that are out there living. Like our problems only exist in our heads, so a lot of times
Right.
they feel like the problems of the world, but they're just
Yeah.
not. And so it's good to like remind yourself of that perspective, as often as possible. Like I find, like, for myself in like lessons that I learn, that it's not like a one and done. It's like, oh, cool, I've learned that lesson, great, got it for the rest of my life. Like,
Yeah.
nope. There are a lot of things that I have to that are a constant battle, and sometimes I take way more steps back than I want to. Sometimes it's the other side. But it's I think once you kind of get on a path of your own, like, self-healing and growth and awareness and all that kind of stuff, that you remember that, like, it's a lifelong thing, and to be gentler with yourself about it, because that's definitely one thing that I is a lifelong thing for me, is just being kinder to myself on a regular basis, and giving my credit.
Yeah. So I was thinking though, like earlier, I almost forgot. I can't remember what you were talking about, but it reminded me of a question I had. You were saying when we were on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how to. I just love to have a natural conversation, but I really want people to see, and I want to be able to watch it for myself because I watch these, and because I'm doing this for me, Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I want to see you, I want to do this, but like this is the life that you live, and other people, they get paid a little bit. I'm willing to wait to have the kind of money I want. I have to wait, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the things now, right? But I was just thinking, like you said, I can't. I want to. You'll say it. I know you can say it how you said it. I think because I brought up the thing about I still haven't gotten those checks from those acting
Oh,
jobs.
yeah.
Yeah. And you were saying the thing about the photography thing, and I was like, wow, that's like, I never heard another person say that thing. Like, I know I don't say it out loud, but that's how I feel. Like the prices I pay. Say what you said about the photography.
I
Like
don't know.
everything you said.
I don't remember what I said about that.
Well, you said something like you got paid only $30 and you did like a bunch of them, but you said basically that the people, um, people like you and I that are successful, and these people are like that too. They're artists, and you become very insecure. And that's kind of why you do your art. And then you said that uh, you paid the price, like you paid more than $30 because you paid the price basically with your soul, because you know what I mean? Like you went home, you said you cried, and remember?
Yeah. No, that was yeah, that was like a for a local improv theater. I got hired. And it's a place that I do, and I coach and perform improv regularly there too. And they'd hired me to do headshots for all of the festival performers for this big comedy festival. So there were people that were from town and a lot of folks that were from out of town, from all over the place. And it was like a really interesting like sample size of people, and performers in a lot of ways. Like a lot of us are trying to get the things that we never got as a child. The
Right.
the love, the applause, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And if you go and if you let that rule, it can be a really it can be a very self-serving craft, and it's really not supposed to be. So
Yeah.
it's like balancing that line between like healthy pride and like just self-deprecation, like paralyzing self-deprecation.
Yeah.
But with the photos though, no, I was taking pictures of these people. And one of the things I love about taking pictures of people is like to be able to connect with them and catch them in a moment, ideally like this candid moment where they are just wholly and completely themselves, and they're not wearing like all the weight of the world and the weight of their past trauma and the things that are in their minds. Like there's this great quote, or there's this podcast that I listen to called On Being with Krista Tippett. It's an NPR podcast.
Okay.
And she interviews this guy who's like a neuroscientist, neurosurgeon. And he's like in his teenage years, and he's in this magic shop, like literally like a magic store. And there was this old woman who was like the owner's mother, and she was like in town just for the summer, and she like taught him like all this stuff like about life, and it like changed this guy's life and put him on this journey, of where he is now. And he runs like the Center for Altruism Research Education, which is called CARE at Stanford, and it's a neuroscientist, and they're studying like compassion in people. Anyways, I say all this to say, what she was telling him was like, when someone's watching a magic trick, they're not really watching as an audience, but they're not really watching a magic trick. They're thinking about like the thing they didn't do yesterday, or the thing that they have yet to do today, and the things that are on their mind. They're constantly distracted, So it's so easy to perform an illusion or to trick someone, because most times they're not super present and actually focused completely, on watching whatever they're doing. And so like getting people out of those places for just a moment, even if it's enough time for me to click a button on my camera,
Yeah.
and seeing the way that they think about themselves, and seeing like people like really just not think that they were beautiful, in their own right, and there are some people that like I could take a million pictures and at every perfect angle with the perfect lighting, and they probably wouldn't like any of them because they don't like themselves,
Right.
But there was some every now and again where you could like surprise someone, and you see them see a picture of themselves is like incredible. To watch them look at themselves and see that they're beautiful, or to get them in a moment where they're out of their heads enough, and feeling like okay about themselves, just baseline like okay,
Yeah.
It was one of those things where and a friend of mine put words to this, where he was like, it sounds like the way that you take pictures, and he's like, it's not a bad thing, but he's like, every picture kind of costs you something, because for me it was having to be so authentic and present myself to be able to let them know that it's okay to let their guards down and to be with me in these moments, and this is like and we're also like in a restaurant kind of like sectioned off where there's like other stuff going around, and it's just trying to go, hey, like I know there's all this other stuff, but just be with me right now,
Yeah.
So one of the things I always asked him was like, what's a song that like really like that makes you feel good, or makes you feel good about yourself or something like that. So I had like a little speaker, and I had my Amazon Prime, and I would whatever song they would say, I would play it, and
that's cool.
And kind of just have like a short brief like introduction, like ask them how they're doing, how's their day, I think when you ask somebody that, like instead of like the, hey man, how's it going? Where instead you're like, hey, how are you doing today? How's, like with with like the intention of being fully present with that, and not like feeling for them that they need to just be like, oh, I'm doing okay. But if they're not, like, they can just say like, I'm, I don't know, I'm feeling a little bit of anxiety. I'm a little bit nervous right now. It's like, cool, great. Because I love when people are like, I'm nervous. Great. I love that. Like, let's put it out there, because there's no reason to be, but I understand that you're feeling that way,
Yeah.
And, yeah, and I ended up coming home and just crying, because it was like, in a lot of ways, oh, wow, it's 5:11 on 5:11. I just looked at my computer.
That's cool.
So, yeah, it was very touching emotionally for me. It was very taxing emotionally too, but I chose to do that. That was,
Yeah.
when I say I chose, I don't really also like know any other way. I mean, there are times like if I'm taking some pictures and it's like under duress, or it's like, this is just for that, like, I guess I don't go deep every time, but I usually do. I like to
Yeah.
I like to hang around in the deep end if at all possible,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Get another one. Another one. Yeah, I was just talking about this on my podcast. I was saying, people, I talk about this at least a few times already. People like to stay on the surface level, and it's shallow. Like, I really hate that. I hate.
Well, I mean, you can't judge it though, because I know you never know why. It's a coping mechanism. It's a safety.
Yeah.
We don't.
Right.
We all. And so it's like, you know, but the deeper you get with everything, you realize that it's all the same. Like the deeper you go with something, you realize, oh, it's just like this, or oh, this is like that too, and it's like it's so, it is so similar. But like, yeah, it's. I wish that we could all be more authentic. I wish that we could, all hang around in the deep end, or just like, I think it's just like realizing that, like, you never know what's behind someone's eyes, like whatever pain
Right.
or joy or whatever their life experiences has, like, just, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. You got to have faith in that, because I mean, we're in a place right now in human history, in our world, in politics, in so many different things that are going on, that it's so easy to just pass judgment on someone else, whether it be like, oh wow, or like whether it be like something like jealousy, like, well, they must have a pretty easy life,
Yeah.
because I'm sure people look at me, right, as a a white 30-something guy, like, and in a lot of cases are like, well, what has he had to overcome, and and I say to some people, like, please, you can have all my history and trauma, you can have it, like, seriously.
Right. Yeah.
But I also realize that I've been really blessed and fortunate. I've had a very, a great life. I mean, I wouldn't take even the worst of it. I wouldn't take any of it away. It's like you said about homelessness being like a blessing to you. Like, 'cause a lot of people hear that story, right? Or, my gosh, being raped and molested, like, and thank goodness, as far as I can remember, those things never happened to me, So I have no idea what that kind of trauma is like, But I was listening to something recently, and I do think it's true, and I'm not trying to minimize anybody else's experiences or trauma or history, but like, they were talking about, like, basically dealing with your past and things like that, and this person, I think it was like a psychologist, that said something like, there's not harder, like, mine's not harder than yours, and yours isn't harder than mine. There's just hard.
Right.
Just hard. We all have hard stuff that we have to deal with that has happened to us, and sometimes in relation to it, like, someone else's hard isn't going to be ours,
Right. Exactly.
Right. But you can't. It's not. You can't judge it. You can't look at it and say, it's like, even like me, like, I mean, hearing you say some things that you've been through, and in my head, I'm like, wow, shit, that's crazy. I can't imagine. But I mean, obviously, it hasn't destroyed you, which is the most beautiful thing of it all,
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've heard stories that I've said about myself that you're like, wow, I'm glad I don't have that guy's problems, and it's like, it's funny because I go to like a 12-step meeting and have for several years, and it's called Codependence Anonymous, and it's like, and people that are codependent. I mean, we're all codependent, just to varying degrees,
Right.
And it was a good thing for me that I got into it when I was in the middle of a breakup, and my dad had just died, and I was like in crisis mode, It was like, it was minute to minute, And what's funny is the first CODA meeting that I ever found and went to was a women's only meeting, and they wouldn't let me stay. And I was like bursting, like, at the seams with, like, emotion and, like, worry and anxiety and just like not like just and honestly like needing someone to like hug me or something. You know, just needing something. And they're like, I'm sorry, but you can't stay. And I was like, it's okay. It's okay. And I was like in my head, I'm like, just don't let him see you cry. And not like I was trying to be some sort of tough guy or anything like that. It wasn't that. It was just like I didn't want them to feel bad that I couldn't stay.
Right.
So I like literally went out to my car.
That's true codependence.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I went out to my car, and thankfully I like to think that I've come a long way since then. And sometimes I haven't. Sometimes I trip up. You know? But I went out to my car and just like burst into tears. But I was fortunate to have some people in my life that that cared for me enough to show me the way to help myself. You know. Yeah. And I think that's I think we all need people like that. You know. Yeah. Because they couldn't have done it for me, but they showed me how to help myself, or they showed me through their own example of how they live their own lives, you know?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm grateful for you. You know, when I was, like when I first met you, remember you were smoking a cigarette?
Probably. Yeah. Calling me out. You calling me out?
Yeah. You remember that.
I was a former smoker, by the way. A former smoker.
Quit. So you quit?
I quit. Well, yeah, I quit a couple of years.
Yay!
Well, and I'd smoked on and off. I started. Not this is an excuse, but and not that people that smoke is fine. It's fine to smoke, so I don't care. But I started smoking again when I was going through a breakup of an engagement, and for me it was like, and I had smoked, you know, previously at different points in my life, you know, on and off, but it was like for me. It was like a relationship that didn't ask anything of me, you know? Yeah. And so, I mean, as unhealthy, you know, physically as it is, you know, it was like a very giving relationship. It was very codependent, obviously, on a cigarette, because it's like, well, I can just have it. It just gives to me, and it doesn't ask anything of me except for my life and well-being and my lung health and all that other stuff. But that was mental as much as it was physical, you know, in a way. But yeah. Anyways, I met you. I was smoking a cigarette. Continue.
Yeah, you were smoking. I know you remember. You were smoking a cigarette. You were standing by like Starbucks. Basically, you were like a little bit further, like between Starbucks and the bank. Yeah. And you were like in the middle of the driveway, basically. And I was just walking by, and I wasn't trying to talk to you or anything. I was just like, I wanted to say, hey. I said, that's not good for you. You need to quit that. You know, you're worth it. And you're like, and you came over. You got it, like you were like this close to my face, and you were like, well, you know, I'm just going through some things right now, and I'm gonna quit again or something. And it was just like, I don't know. That was just the coolest thing, you know. That it's more than it's more like a feeling that I can't. You know what I mean? There's a feeling there that it's hard to explain, you know. But I was like, and like I said, I wasn't sure. I just like remember I said you're very smart. I like you. You know, you're different. Remember? And then you were telling me that you're an actor and stuff like that. And I looked you up, and I never expected that. I never expected us to ever talk again after that. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's funny. Like when I tell my my fiance about you every now and again, when I'm like, oh, I'm doing this interview with like Liberty, and she's like, who's it? It's like, oh, she's my friend from Colombia, and I've told her about it. She's like, oh yeah, that's crazy, and just kind of how it all, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, how we connected and.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I bought some of your soup.
You bought what?
Some of your soup that you.
Oh, the soup. Yes, I love that. Do you remember that? The story that, like, afterwards when I told you? Well, I was just I wasn't asking you for money. I just wanted you to try, like, be my taste tester.
Yeah.
You know? And it was this vegan soup, and I thought it was delicious.
It was a broccoli cheddar type vegan soup.
Yeah.
Obviously not real cheddar. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, what's that stuff called? Dia Shreds cheese. Yeah. I love that stuff. And then you were like, and I don't think it was the same day. I think it was like, maybe it was like a week later or something. And I was sitting, I don't even know the guy's name because I don't talk to him. He's got a real bad temper. But anyway, I met him at Starbucks. He's like a biker, and he was sitting there, and I found out he does like some kind of, what's it called? I don't know what it's called, but some kind of digital art that he creates on his computer. Mm-hmm. And so I said, meet me down there at Starbucks. So we were sitting there talking, and then you came, and I was actually, the funny thing is, I never told you this, but at the time I was trying to make some money, and I actually had a room and that I was cooking. I had like a, what do you call that? A crock pot and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was cooking that in my room, and I was trying to start like this catering business to make some money, just to see how, because eventually I'm gonna have a restaurant where I give away free food all day, like never charge people. But at the time, I just want to make some money and try to see if I can do it because people like my food. But I needed money to stay in this hotel. I had 2 weeks in this hotel room, but I wanted to get more, right? So all these men were offering me jobs, but they were just trying to spend time with me for free. So I asked the guy, I was like, I want you to invest in my company. And he's like, well, I don't really have money, da 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 da. Da. And then you come by, and and you're like, hey, Liberty, thanks for the soup, and you gave me $5. And then I want to hold on, let me demonstrate. I want to show you. I'm gonna show you how you walk. The way you walked away, you were like, hold on, let's see if I can get this. You were like, you had that swagger. Hold on, I gotta plug back in. But you had that swagger. When you walked away, I was like, yeah, he's feeling confident, feeling cocky right now. That was cute. I loved it.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
I had that image. I cannot, it's been years, like you said, but that image stays in my mind. I love it.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah.
and you know what? As there was an energy there, like I said, because as soon as you gave me that money, I literally got up, told the guy I had to leave, and just left. I took all my stuff and just let my guitar, everything, and yeah, I don't like. There's sometimes that's love. Love moves you. You show me love, and it moved me. And
one of the memories I have of you is on like I would often see you on like the Trenholm Forest Ave intersection with your headphones on, just like dancing like you were the only one in the world that was alive. And I always like saw that and was like, yeah, she knows something that most of us don't know. Like there's something, you know what I mean? Like there's something when someone does like and you meet people like that, where you're like, or sometimes where you're like, it's an energy. You're like, oh, I like being around this person, or I like the energy, or I like the way that they treat themselves, or they talk about themselves, or the way that they talk or treat about other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like there's something about you that was like this, like I think I told you on the phone. I was like something about like you can't tell like, you know what I mean? Like people like telling you like somebody couldn't tell you like you can't do that or you shouldn't be doing that. And you'd be like, so what? Just like in doing like you're someone to me that like definitely marches to the beat of their own drum in the most beautiful way, and it's inspiring to see, you doing things that you do and just like, trying to get whatever it is off the ground and different things and all these ideas that you've got. And I think that's all great, but just at the end of the day, it's the passion with which that you do all the things that you do and the love in which that you do them for people that are your friends or your acquaintances or lucky enough to meet you or whatever the case may be. And it's inspiring to me because it's like sometimes like if I there have been times where like I'll be moping on my own self-loathing and bullshit and just problems that are in my head, and I'll be like, I wonder how Liberty would handle this or something. You know what I mean? Or just that, you know what I mean? Or and because it's just like your consummate positivity it's infectious, and I'm sure people that are lucky to spend time with you and in and around LA are benefited by that and whatever way. And you might not see that immediately, and you might not see it, might not be until after you're long gone from this earth, but in some way it'll live on and it'll become something greater than you.
Yeah. That's what I want. A legacy. Yeah.
Because you got to keep giving of it freely. That's the whole thing, and like as an artist, right? In art and when I'm acting, right? Like yeah, there are times where I'm on stage and it's like, and I can hear an applause or I can hear laughter, and it's like, and it is invigorating. It is feeding,
Yeah.
But there's this great Andy Warhol quote that's like, just make art and don't worry about whether it's good or bad. Let other people decide whether it's good or bad. And while they're busy deciding, just make more art,
Right.
And I think that's so important because like, as an actor, like we're so used to like giving away our power, or waiting for someone to book me for a job or to offer me a job instead of just like creating my own stuff. Like nobody has to give me permission to act but myself.
Yeah.
And so remembering that and being able to give of it freely, to be able to fall in love with the work so much that that I'm not attached to the result of it or attached to how someone perceives it,
Yeah.
because there are things that I'm going to do that people are going to hate and that they're
Yeah.
going to love, and it has nothing to do with me.
Right. It's their own perception.
Yeah, because I mean, you can be in it. You can 100 people in a movie, and you can get 100 different reactions to the same movie.
Yeah.
So it's not about that. So it's like if you're a person that has to express themselves creatively, then I would just say can just do that and just be so in love with the process of that is what brings you joy.
Yeah,
because the rest of it you can't control. It's completely out of your control, and you'll drive yourself crazy, as I can attest to, trying to make it so good or produce it or do it so perfectly that's like that because you don't want to give somebody a reason to dislike it, but you can't do that because no matter what, there's going to be something,
Yeah.
And it's very freeing in a way when you remember that too.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's like, that's why I said, like, we're exactly in the same place right now in our mindset, because it took me forever to get to where I'm at. Like, but in the past, since I met, I think he's here. Since I met Matthew, no, he works here. Since I met Matthew and my other friend, David,
what's funny is my first name is Matthew. My brother's name is David.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. That is funny. But I bet these, like, I don't expect other people to believe what I believe or do what I do. But I don't have sex before marriage. That's my belief. And the reason is, though, not just because the Bible says it, but because I know it's bad for me. It's bad for my mental health. And I don't want to sit here for the rest of my life questioning, does somebody really care for me? Or is it my body? Or is it my money? Or, you know what I mean? And so now I have two really, well, you too. I mean, anybody can be friends, right? So I have a lot of good friends, actually, that care about me for me, and not for my body, not for what I can do for them, not for money, anything, but at the same time, those friends would be there if I needed something, if I did need money or something, and you have been there that way too. So, but in the past month, it's been, I met two guys that don't have sex. They believe the same thing I believe. They're waiting until they get married. And then at the same time too, not only that, but they envision where they want to be, and they say, hey, I'm the best husband, and I've been very focused, and I'm like, why am I sitting here just like, I have enough thinking, you know what I mean? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do these interviews. I'm going to ask people. And it turned out way better because so many people want to see all these interviews. I've interviewed a lot of people here. This is their side job, and their main thing though is they're trying to get their music or whatever it is off the ground. And and they know a lot of the people, and so they've introduced me to people. I do live streams with my friend David, and we meeting more people, and it's like, hey, so I'm learning more too, and it's just working out really great. People, I don't even have to really promote my stuff like I used to, because I found this guy. He's 10 years old, 10, and he wrote a book when he was 8, right? And so I got him on my interview. His name, The Elementary Entrepreneur. I mean, this kid is amazing, but the best part is that I got the opportunity I got to speak with I asked to speak with his dad, and his dad found me on Facebook too. And his dad said the most beautiful thing. Like, I said to him, I said, are you Mexican? Because the kid looks white, He's Julian, he looks white. And the dad called him that. I didn't notice, so I went back and listened to the interview. But he was calling me really old. And he was like, Julian, I'm not old. I'm only 42, right? He was like, I've never seen a person like as old as you are. You're very old. I've never seen a person that old, that enthusiastic. Keep it up. And I was like, I'm so glad I got that on tape, and but every time I hate watching it though, because every time I always feel like that's my kid, and I want to see him more, but but it's just like, so the father said, he messaged me. I said, well, are you Mexican? I said, I only ask, I'm just asking because I care, and he's like, Yes, I'm Mexican. And when I came from this country, I came to this country, I got married. And when I had Julian, he said, I had the intention to say, hey, I'm going to teach my kids about financial literacy and, and all this stuff. And he said, and now that mission has turned into a bigger mission of wanting to teach the world about it. And I just like, I can't be any more grateful than just to meet all these people that I feel like when I first became homeless, I felt like nobody gave up about anything besides me, I just felt so disconnected. It was really, really hard, you know? But that's why I'm grateful today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's great.
Good.
This is a great place to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the present moment. That's the answer. You know what I mean? It's we have built a society that was designed to distract and entertain us,
Yeah.
And we so often forget what exists for us at every moment in the present. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, gosh, what a blessing that is. What a beautiful gift of the world. I mean, it's like there's literally so much out there for us, and yet we are confined in this little tiny thing, with all the problems of the world in our heads and all of our insecurities and our past experience that colors how we see the world instead of just trying to be like beautiful observers of it all. And it's not easy. I'm not saying like I can just, you know what I mean? Like that's, I do yoga and meditate and just try to my best to be a decent person,
Yeah.
And so it's not like, I've got to figure it out or anything, but I think I've at least got, I've at least like figured out what the path is and trying to walk that, as best I can.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I mean, nobody's perfect. That's another thing. It's just realizing that, like you said, I'm not the only one here. I'm not the only one on this earth. Think of others, and when you get in, sometimes you get into you get really tired and stuff is adding up, and then things can get to you. Like you have a friend that you just seen your friend walk by you on the street, and they barely acknowledge you. They're just like, hey, and then just keep going. And it's like, oh, they didn't come over. They didn't try to hug me like they usually do. And then, you know what I mean? But then things keep, and when it gets worse though, is when you take that and you take it in and you think about it, and then more things happen, like I call it, I don't think I've ever said this out loud, but just like, I call it, I took a hit, like somebody kind of like, not shot me, but you know what I mean? Like and then I take it in though, taking it in, that's where you get in trouble, is when you keep it in and you think too much about that. And
I think for me, I'd realized that like my life was a lesson in learning to let go.
Right.
And in so many things, and in such in so many ways, and in the idea that I have of who I am in my identity as an artist. And and you can look at it like through the lens of like, physical things or like tangible relationships or not tangible relationships, but like just different things. But it's like, it's just, letting go is just such a beautiful thing. It's usually, I haven't ever experienced, I don't think, a moment where I've like, oh, I wish I would have held on to that harder. It's usually like, I should have let go sooner, or something like that. But it's all,
exactly.
It all happens the way it does.
But, I think the same thing too. Like, oh, I wish I would have let go of that sooner. But if I hadn't let go at the time that I did, like I would have never learned the lessons,
Right. So I'm saying it happened the way that it did. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't go back and like, regret that or anything like that. But yeah, because it's like, well, it happened. So if this is how it happened, if these are the facts, this is the reality here, or as much as I can see of it, like what was that, what is there in that? So.
Yeah. But just like, I know what you're saying though, just like with my ex, I was with him for 10 years. He beat me, called me fat, ugly, and stupid, and all these things. So I said, all right, I'm going to show you. He said, you're never going to go anywhere in life, and no one's ever going to love you. So I got 3 degrees, I lost 200 pounds first, quit drinking, quit drugs, got 3 degrees. And, now it's, since him, I haven't had sex. And, and now I'm in LA living the life, long story short. But I always tell myself, I think about, like, this was just a thought that's kind of popped up in the middle of a sentence, but I think about this. There's songs that I sing, and I think, man, this would have helped me get through. And some of them did help me get through back then. But thinking like Toby Keith, how do you like me now? He's going to see my face, and he's the one that has to regret. I don't want anything to do with that at all, ever. I don't care how great he gets over all that stuff. I don't care. But I'm gonna be a lesson that he learned, put it that way. And like I want nothing but the best for him and everybody else. But it's just like I kind of think sometimes I wonder what would happen if I would have been smart, and let him go sooner. But I learned a lesson.
You might not be where you are now, and you never know, because getting stuck in that, like, wondering is like it's just the same way that you can't predict the future. So don't worry about it.
No, but you can predict the future. Abraham Lincoln said the best way to predict the future is to create it. Abraham Lincoln
came forward in time and gave you candy as a 1.5-year-old and told you that, right? Is that what it was?
No.
Full circle.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great way. Yeah, that's a great way to end it. No, but I mean, if you have to get going or something, or because that is a good.
Yeah, that's a great ending. Let's call it there.
Are you sure? Because I would like to know your plans for the future.
Yeah, I mean, just in short, honestly, without even going into too much detail, it's really just me taking more accountability of my own destiny as an artist.
I love that.
So it's me being more intentional about my artistic life.
Yeah, me too.
Being more active in it. So it's doing some more videography work now. Putting myself out there as a photographer as well, because acting, as just an actor, right? I mean, I can go knock down doors. I can go send casting directors emails that'll just get deleted.
Right.
And I don't mean to be pessimistic about that, but it's just
it's reality. Yeah.
It is a lot of reality, So instead of like waiting around for someone to offer me a job, which actually yesterday I did get a message from a theater that I worked at in Columbia, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really? Oh.
And I can't say much about anything yet, but there might be something going on there, which would be fantastic.
That'd be cool.
Really, and I was just the conversation that I had yesterday was just, humbling and very, very flattering, and was just kind of speechless about the whole thing. It was very surprised. So that was amazing. Honestly, it was a huge gift. But yeah, just creating my own work, telling the stories that I want to see out there. As a director, as a writer, and then as well as an actor, but being able to work with friends, like the people, it's like working, it's who you know. So like finding my friends, my group, my ilk, and creating things together, because that's when I'm most fulfilled, is doing that. So my future is doing more of that, because that will inevitably be the vehicle for my own success, because that's where I'm most fulfilled. So it's not even money thing. It's where am I most fulfilled? When am I at my best? And it's doing things like that. So it's me being more intentional about doing that kind of stuff. So that's my future.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm doing what I love with the people I love. Yeah. But then that's when the money comes. The money will follow,
Yeah, and it'd be great, and that'd be great if it does. I'd love to be able to not worry about keeping the lights on, but I think you can even just say doing what I love with the people I love. Full stop. Period. That's it. Because the rest of it's all gravy. I mean, we live in a world we abide by the capital system. We live in a democratic republic. We need to have money, as a form of currency to be able to afford to survive and to stay alive. So I mean, that is a necessity. So that would be great if that came along with it. If not, I'll figure something out. I'll go build a fence. I'll paint a bedroom. I'll fix the ceiling.
That's cool.
I'll take some pictures. I'll make a video. There's a lot of ways to make money out there.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't want you to disagree with me. I'm telling you, I see great things for you. I'm so glad. I'm so thankful you came, and it's just where your mind's at right now. Listen. I know where my mind's at, and here's what I'm going to tell you about me. Here's what I know for sure right now, because I'm trying to figure this other stuff out right now. I'm just trying to be here with you and do what I do. You know what I mean? But 1, I am the best wife ever. So 2, everything else goes under that, you see? So that means I'm going to have a 1970 Boss 302 Mustang named Maverick. I've been saying this for 4 years. And now I said I'm going to have a private jet because I need to go to Africa. I'm not taking, when I came to LA, I came on a Greyhound. And when I went back, I went on Colorado. I got stuck there overnight. I said never again. And ever since then, I took many flights. I will not. I've sacrificed to see my family, to do things like that. Go to conferences. I'm going to one in LA. Thank God they have one in LA this in May. But I meet people. I meet great people like you, and I put them on here. But having those connections where people are doing what I'm doing, and we're there for each other. That's what that's about, you know. But that's why I need my private jet, because when I go to Africa, you know, I'm done with the Greyhound. And one day I want to go up to, you know, another notch up, go to first class. But then I'm gonna have my private jet. I'm gonna have a bedroom in there, a shower. I know what I want. Like you said, no one's gonna tell me I'm gonna get it. But you and Jennifer are gonna, when you guys are married, you're gonna be on my jet with me and my husband. We're gonna take a trip somewhere, wherever you want to go, Italy, whatever. I'll pay for everything.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna celebrate you. It's gonna be late probably, but we're gonna celebrate your wedding and take you on a trip.
That's yeah.
Yeah. Huh?
Go ahead.
I just say you're going places. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Yeah. I think so. I feel that. I feel a lot of good things coming, and there's already so much good too, you know.
Yeah.
I just keep following that. That's all, you know.
Yeah. Tell them about, a lot of people, they're gonna probably watch this later because I don't see anybody here now, but tell them about your movies. What was that movie called with the bowling alley?
Oh, that's called 12 Pound Balls. That's out on that's on Amazon Prime and Comcast and Redbox Digital and stuff. It was just we did that movie for a few $1,000s. Just a group of friends.
Oh, wow.
A buddy of mine directed it, and and we got distributed through Gravitas Ventures. We got the film picked up, and we shot that thing in like 2 weeks. You know.
Yeah, that's a good movie though.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was one of my best friends who's a director who I've been doing stuff with for like 12 years. We met on Craigslist like 12 or 15 years ago, literally. Oh, wow. Or not 15, about 10 or 12 years ago.
Meeting him through what, in an apartment or?
No, he just I was living in the Midwest at the time, and he had just moved there. His wife was in dental school, and they had just moved to the Midwest, and he made a post looking for people to make like sketch comedy with. And
oh wow, that's cool.
And me, he and I and another friend of ours, the three of us, we called ourselves the Tripod because there were three of us. We would make you know, these sketches, and then we started making short films that you know went around the country, different film festivals and stuff, and won a few little awards. And we were just goofy, fun kind of comedies, and then graduated doing some feature films, and we've also done some other work together in different ways, and so it's amazing that journey has taken us this far, because that's a lot of what my journey has been on. Like a lot of my greatest successes have been things that have been self-produced or produced with friends, you know, and that's just what it keeps reminding me. Like that's my, you know, that's my path, you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna see. You know, I'm a director too, so we're gonna be making. I guarantee you, we're gonna make at least one movie together.
Let's do it. I'd love that.
After I get my album out in August of this year, my first album, I'm gonna work on the first movie. I have a synopsis written for my first movie that's gonna be probably a trilogy or maybe more, and it's based on my life, loosely based on my life.
There's a lot to pull from there. There's a lot to pull from. A lot of good stories to tell that people need to hear. You know.
Yeah.
So kudos to you, and you gotta. You know, and it's being able to be authentic, you know, and to be able to tell that stuff, and that's, you know, that's not easy for anybody. Even those of us that enjoy it, it's still. I mean, it's courage. It's bravery. It's courage. That's the deep end, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is where I live, homie. Cool. Yeah. Well, I thank you so much for coming.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, girl.
I love you, Matthew, man. I really appreciate you and all that you gave so much of yourself and all the encouragement you've given me. I thank you so much.
Thank you. And you're welcome. And also thank you, because it is a two-way street, and it's great seeing the things that you do and you work in your magic and doing your thing. And like I said, it's inspiring. You know what I mean? And it's like, and it reminds me, like, what do I have to be afraid of? You know, why am I holding myself back from following my dreams and doing the things that I want to do, you know, and creating my own happiness and creating the life that I want to live and the life that I want to be a part of, you know?